Acting off of impulse can be a fairly difficult thing to pull off. There's not a lot of people that are very reciprocal to someone that acts without thinking. It's a way of living that can really bring up some underlying issues and really make it so that people have to deal with who is coming out right then, right there, without you having to think about it. So it's an interesting way to act, and I think you can't act too much on it without just getting absolutely shunned by society or being like an extremely little kid. Um, when you're living with other conscious beings, they tend not to like altercations. Everyone wants peace within an interaction unless there's some other ulterior incentives. But for the general population, that is what we're striving for. And when you act based off of who you are in the moment, not who you think you are, not who you're thinking about becoming, when you just say it, you just blurt it out, um, it can really cause some impact. So why is it beneficial and why is it harmful? Well, it's harmful because it brings things up, brings them right to the surface. You said it. How are they going to interact with it now? But why is it beneficial? So when you act from yourself, there's there's a sense of learning that you get that that comes from just being, where you have acted based off of how you are. You haven't thought about you haven't filtered it through different layers of the ego. Yes, it may still be coming from your ego, but you haven't filtered it. You haven't gone through it. If you're acting through thought, then there's so many other filters that you will have to then think about if something goes wrong. If you just act based off of impulse, you know for the most part why you had the impulse, or if not, it's not too confusing to figure it out. Um, so it really you start to come from a deeper level of yourself when you just act. It's just being authentic. And it's just hard for people, a lot of people have lived their lives trying to be this person that they thought of. So when you start to act from someone who is not this person that you thought you are, it's surprising. You're just like, wow, I wonder where that came from. Well, probably somewhere very, very deep down inside of you. And yeah, it's difficult to do these things. It's a lot easier just to have normal surface level interactions, and to some extent, it can just be just more peaceful to do this. So you do choose to start to act from this impulse, this part of yourself. There's a fundamental key that you sort of that makes it a lot easier. When you're acting just from yourself, I've found that it is helpful when you are aware of how you're acting. If you're just acting, blurting out, um, and you don't have an awareness of yourself, then you start to act like a little kid, or you just maybe act off of anger and you just attack someone, or um, however you are going to act like this. But if you are aware of yourself, you can realize like how you're acting when you're acting it. So instead of spending all of your mental energy thinking about how you should be acting, you spend you spend some awareness observing yourself interacting. And this will show you where you are coming from, and it may even show you where the other person is coming from. Even if this is just a regular interaction, you're at the grocery store and you're buying some food and the person seems uncomfortable. Your first response might just be, "Hey, are you all right? Everything okay?" And then maybe you just hold that back and just say, "Well, I'm just gonna do what I'm supposed to do here and buy my groceries and say thank you, have a nice day." Um, and you've avoided that path, if you will, the path of saying what you want to say. the path of being you, whoever you think you may be. Um, and either way that you live, you are going to learn. So there's no emphasis on you have to live this way. This is just a way that you can live, acting more like a child to some people. Um, sort of unfiltered, unprofessional. You can be deemed a lot of things when you act this way. And, I sure have went through a lot of self-refinement because of the amount of things that I just say that I want to say, you know. Um, it causes a lot of people to really consider consider you and consider what has happened and not sort of just brush it off and be like, yeah, whatever, and then have some sort of cognitive understanding on this situation. When you really bring the depth of you, it's hard to get a clear cognitive understanding on that situation. And just in general, it's hard to get clear cognitive understandings. Um, so that's my thoughts on acting based off of impulse. I think that it's a more exciting way to live your life. You end up doing a lot more things. Granted, they may be more risky or more dangerous or even just more honest, more authentic. So, um, I enjoy living this way. I can't say I always live this way. It's very difficult to constantly bring yourself to every situation, to constantly show up. And then on top of that, to be aware of the self that you are bringing. And then on top of that, to be aware of everyone else's self that everyone else is bringing. And it really can make you think. It really can make you think. So those are my thoughts on showing up, on bringing yourself, and on being authentic. So yeah, I hope everyone has a nice day, and I will see you in the next video.